Hi everyone, Slightly Scarlet is fortunate to have Christina with us today. Christina is a mobility trainer at Guide Dogs Singapore and she'll be enlightening us more on guide dogs and how Guide Dogs Singapore conducts its training. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so hi Christina. To begin, can you tell us how long you've been a trainer at Guide Dogs Singapore?
Since coming back, I think until now will be 8 months, August now. So yes, so since December till now.
So are guide dogs given exceptions from conventional rules in public places like public transport, F&B and establishments, and other public spaces?
Yes, so by law in Singapore, they are exempted from the restrictions that prohibit animals from entry into public areas and eating places. And also the other thing is the F&B establishments, or your restaurants, your coffee shops, your cafes, they actually do not need a special permit to allow guide dogs entry. I think that is there's a lot of misconception on it that they need a special permit to allow guide dogs.
Okay. And during our public outreach efforts in the past few years, we have always told the public how the sum of training a guide dog, each guide dog is about $50,000, right? And the public is often always amazed and they wonder why. So could you just give us an idea why this sum is so sizable?
Okay, firstly, I would say the cost actually goes into the selective breeding of the dogs themselves. And those guide dog organizations that have breeding programs, right, they will have to look into how best the genetics of each dog can be matched. So a lot of science actually go into it. Yeah. So in terms of the best temperaments, how they can be paired for the best temperaments, and also considerations are also taken into how to minimize the risk of certain genetic conditions. For example, one of the key ones is hip dysplasia, which is very common in large dogs. And then the next part is that the puppies actually go into puppy raising. So they are fostered out and placed with families that will take care of them as in the first year of their lives. And in this 12 months or so, that's when they learn basic obedience, they learn the social behavior, what is acceptable, not to jump on furniture, etc. And this is not just the care at home, but at the same time in all sorts of public areas. So we're talking about public transportation, we're talking about shopping malls, we're talking about eating places. So all the cost also goes into support of these families that take care of the puppies in the first year. So all that is involved in getting them used to all the different sights and sounds of their lives. And then after that is followed by the guide dog skills training part, which is also about 5 to 6 months of it, and then followed by matching with potential handlers. So throughout the training, I would say that the dogs are also regularly checked for potential health issues, which includes eye checks, x-rays, regular vet care. Of course, on top of it is their worming tablets and all that. So all these costs are all factored into the 50K that we have been saying. And as you can see, it's a lot of science and health costs as well as manpower hours.
So before we end this interview, do you have any important tips like do's and don'ts for the public if they come across a guide dog and their handler?
Do's and don'ts. I think firstly, the do's is to approach the handler. If you see a guide dog team and you wonder if they need help, approach the handler and ask if he or she needs your help. But do not get offended if they say no, because often they already know where they're headed and they have a really clear idea of where they're going. And the other thing is probably I think all of our handlers are more than happy to hear how amazing their dog is. So do tell them that. Yeah, and they're really proud of what their dogs have enabled them to achieve. So I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. As for the don'ts, I guess do not attempt to pet or interact with the dogs, no matter how adorable they may look. Not because they would react in any negative manner, but it's more because it can pose a safety hazard to our handlers. Yeah, because if the dogs are distracted, they may forget to stop at the step, or they may forget to indicate and avoid certain obstacles. So that is one of the key things. And I think there is that misunderstanding when they see the sign, do not interact, do not pet. They're like, oh, because the dog is fierce, the dog will bite. Actually, no, they will not bite. The key issue is more of it's a safety hazard for our handlers if the dogs are distracted. So avoid interactions with the dog. And if you are helping the handlers to show the way and all that, they will know what to do, they'll tell you what to do. Or if you're not sure, I'm sure the handlers are more than happy to say, to show you what you can do to guide them. But do not attempt to grab or try to direct the dog in any way, because they have been taught what to do in all situations, and that actually will confuse both the dog and the handler. Yeah, and some of them may feel like suddenly lose their orientation on certain things as well. So yeah, that's the other. And do not try to feed the dog because they need to adhere to a certain diet that helps the handler know their toileting habits.
Okay, great. With that, actually, we have now come to the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Christina, for taking the time to educate our Slightly Scarlet team, as well as our viewers on, the topic of guide dogs and their training process. With the world in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is more clear than ever before that the visually impaired community has been overlooked. If you'd like to help Guide Dogs Singapore in their efforts to improve the lives of the visually impaired community, please head over to smuslightyscarlet.com for more information, to make a donation, or to purchase some merchandise. Alternatively, go on to Instagram at SlightlyScarletOfficial for more information. Thank you, everyone.